Right then, another video, another black Fabia, but this one's a little bit different because this is what a lot of people are asking for. We get a lot of people saying we don't want to just see all the big crazy builds, which, look at the view count, everybody wants to see the crazy builds, but these are a massive market for us still, and a mass amount of cars still out there that are not absolutely wired to the moon, crazy power, crazy money spent on them. So this is just a typical Fabia that we're getting. You can get them same in the Ibiza and the Polos, but we generally see probably more Fabias than Ibizas, and then a lot more Fabia and Ibizas than we do Polos. Don't know why, I just don't think there are as many. Generally, we get the PD 130s, obviously Cupras there at 160, but generally 130s and 160s that we tend to see. Sometimes we do 100s, but when you've got the 100s, the gearbox is always a weak link in them, so we generally start with a 130. The engine's a bit stronger, the gearbox is stronger, you've got all the nice bits anyway. So this came in with a few questionable mods already, and it's done a few miles, so a few components were tired. So a lot of the build for this car has been just doing the suspension, brakes, bushers, all that type of stuff, which a lot of cars come to us with that stuff already done, which we prefer them to be safe before we're driving them. But we'll look at some of the mods it had, some of the mods that we've done, then we'll look at the dyno graph, and then we'll take it for a little drive. I'm not going to do any 0-60 launching because it's not my car, manual. Dan's pulling funny faces in the background as well. So this has got a Miltech downpipe on, which a lot of what Miltech does is pretty good. It usually fits all right. Obviously it's MIG welded and it's bent, so it don't look like what we do. And obviously this has been on a few years, so the stainless is not obviously the best quality. But this is one of the differences between our downpipe and the Miltech, which this is a 2-inch piece all the way down. It might be a bit less than 2-inch, but I'm pretty sure it's 2-inch. Whereas ours, it's a 2.5-inch bend, and then it's got a reduction into a 2.25-inch hole, so it's the right size. Sorry, into a 2-inch. Sorry, it is a 2-inch hole, so it's 2-inch to 2.5-inch. This is easier to fit because you can get to the bolts. Ours is a bit of a pig to fit, but it flows better, seems to work better, and we've sold tons of them. So that is one of the things. Then this intercooler, this is a forged one, which these are absolutely garbage. I've never liked them, they don't really cool things very well. And as you can see, it don't fit very well because it's been rubbing air condenser until it got an hole in it. And that then damaged the factory turbo, which, so trying to make sure I get things in the right order, but the turbos on these will do about 175 horsepower standard, the KKK, Triple K, whatever you want to call it, Borg Warner unit. But with a standard side mount intercooler, which Danny will try and put a picture up of what one of them looks like. If the pipes are intact and they're perfect, they're still crap. Inlet air temps get to 100 degrees easily, and you're normally stuck about 160, 165 horsepower. Put a front mount intercooler on, not that one of these ones. This is the Darkside Seat Sport one. So this is basically a copy of what Seat put on the Seat Ibiza Cupras. It doesn't fit perfectly on these. You've got to do a bit of chopping here and there and stuff like that, which we've got guides on how to do it. But that, straight away, just dropping one of them on a remapped but standard intercooler car, 10 horsepower every time without fail. And usually, if it's already got, if it's got the original on, the boost pipes are leaking anyway. So that's why people ask us all the time, why don't you do an upgraded pipe kit for the standard Ibiza Fabia Polo intercooler? We'd sell absolutely tons of them, I know we would, but the intercoolers are that crap, it just goes against what we believe in. Not that I want to sell somebody else one of them, but if you want an upgraded pipe kit for your standard intercooler, you're just being silly anyway. So that's how it works. So this has got, we'll give it a full service, we'll put the Seat Sport strut brace on. It's got EGR delete. These are a few other little trick bits that it could have had. It's got braided oil feed, and that's feeding into the Ibiza Cupra turbo, which they work really well. And I think I've just realised that I've left the dyno graph upstairs. You didn't get it, did you? Look at the state of my hands. So, got the dyno graph. I'll cover that up. But as you can see, 380 foot-pound of torque, which if we'd started that earlier, it'd have been earlier, I believe, anyway, because they normally spool well below 2 grand these, and 193 horsepower. And it's a nice flat. You always get a little dip on these PDs. You move cam timing and it just moves that dip a little bit, but don't worry, you don't feel it on the road too much. But yeah, this is plenty enough for the road. Josh and Gav, who bought an Ibiza Cupra from us, it got pretty much this spec, our pipe kit and all that carry on. And that did the same power pretty much, and they've drove it on the track for absolutely ages and they love it. Obviously, the next step up for them is like a 2260 kit on the stock injectors, which will take them to 230, maybe 240 if the injectors are good, but 230 is a nice figure to aim for, and that'll be pretty much the same spec as our old Ibiza race car then, and that wins races, so that's a decent spec. But once you start going beyond that, these PD engines, people claim 500 horsepower and all these crazy powers from her, and we've got Rob's car that's 450 horsepower. But when you start pushing them to that, the lifespan just goes down. You start lifting heads, breaking gearboxes, dry shafts, all that sort of stuff, and there's just no fun in being sat outside at road with broken parts. That's just my opinion, and I think I've never been a big fan of a car that smokes like crazy. I think I used to tolerate more smoke before it became unfashionable, but like at this sort of spec, there'll be not really any smoke out the back. You'll tell it's a diesel, it's not going to be like a clean petrol coming out the back, but it's not going to be piling loads of black out. But once you start up 250s, 260s, 270s and going crazier, you have to accept a bit more smoke, and it's not in everybody's interest to have that anymore for some reason. It used to be. You can literally see in the 10, 11 years we've been running, people used to say, I want every horsepower possible, don't care about smoke, to now where they're bringing these 04 plate cars and saying, I want no smoke and as much power, and you're like, well, you can't have it all. But that's where the common rail, that's why we went common rail on the Golf, we can have more power for less smoke, and that's why we've done it. But these old PD engines, if I had to have one engine in all my cars, it'd be this one, because it's the simple one that you can just take bits off other ones and they just work. They were in everything at this period of time, and that's what pushed the diesel market where it is now. So I do like them still. I don't think I own anything with one in it at the minute. I think the only PD engine I've got's in the truck, and that's not exactly standard. So they are good. There's a massive market still there. The amount of money people want to spend on these cars is dwindling. When the cars are 500 quid, people are not willing to spend 10 grand on them. But yeah, they are still good. So in a second, we'll get out for a quick drive in it. But another thing that Majid has asked us to do on this one, I'm not quite sure why. I think it's got winter tyres on, so I think it must get used a lot in the winter. But we have put a Quaife diff in here and a brand new clutch and all that sort of stuff. And that is quite an expensive mod with strength from the forks and all that stuff, which if you're going for the 2260, I'd say that'd probably be a good idea, definitely if you're track driving. But for what this is going to get used for, definitely over the top. But he wanted it, he asked for it, he's got it. So we're getting what he needs. But I don't think it's going to be, if it's wet you'll notice it, but today it's red hot, you'd never notice it. So yeah, let's go for a run. So we're out in the Fabia. So this has had all brand new engine mounts and all that stuff, so it's all pretty good. The tyres are not they're not the best for performance, but they'll be absolutely fine. These M3 style wing mirrors are not good for seeing anything out of. Drives exactly like standard when you're cruising along, which is exactly what you need. Fourth gear at 25 mile an hour, put your foot down and you get power, which when you're used to big turbo stuff, you do miss that. Changing down a couple of gears to get going can be a bit annoying at times. drives. It's that warm today. It's almost up to temperature just from ticking over for 10 minutes. This has got a gear knob on that tells you what gear you're in. But because we've put a short shift on it, thinks we're in 3rd and 4th even when we're in 6th. My 6th gear, 50 mile an hour, put your foot down, away we go. No messing for overtaking. Slow down a little bit. Just a minute so I can actually see. No smoke really. See? There's literally no smoke that I can see. Worst case, a little puff just as it spools up, which is acceptable. Feels good. Plenty of power. Love our instant. As soon as you get on it, you just get it. Mega. Turn traction off. See if tyres will chirp in roundabouts. And turn that down. Straight there between gears. No delay whatsoever. Straight back to full motor. Yeah. Can't see why I wouldn't be happy with this. Like I said before, this is the road spec. Just put your foot down, bang. It's not going to set any world records, 0 to 100 and stuff like that, but as far as how fast it feels, yeah. This is the sort of spec what made people love diesels. Trying to turn them into revvy monsters like everyone wants to do is not what they're all about. Just like 30 mile an hour, 3rd gear, bang, we're off. No messing. As soon as that slight delay from the turbo spooling's gone, boom, you're there. And if you don't mind a bit more smoke, you can get rid of most of that delay. Just do what all the idiot tuners do and make the throttle pedal the smoke map, and then you can have instant spool, but with a massive cloud of smoke behind you. Like that. Boom, off we go. After 4,300 revs, there's not really any point revving it since I'm dyno graph. Still going to 47, but 43, 44. Change up a gear, bang. You've got it all again. Change up another gear, bang. It is good. I don't think anybody who got in this, even if you're used to pretty fast cars, I'd say it was slow, which is good. Obviously, once you start getting over 100 mile an hour, you definitely notice there's not 300, 400 horsepower there, but you should only be doing 70 anyway. Bang, straight there. No messing. Mint. Love it. Again, this would be, if this were the only spec you could have, everybody'd have it. You won't be disappointed. Really good. It's like with the 1.6s and the GTD turbo, it just works nice. That's why Seat Sport chose this. Yeah, really happy. I'm sure Majid's wife will be very happy with improved Fabia. I'm sure it's much loved. We have spent a few quid on it. Gone a bit crazy in some places, so hopefully everybody's enjoyed the video. Thank you for letting us do the video magic, really appreciate it. And hopefully you can let a few people out in it and show them what a diesel can do.